Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about romance in anime, movies and TV shows. Today we're talking about the movie The Long Shot, right? Which we have Fred and Charlotte. Right? This story is very interesting, so I'll try to explain it as best as I can. So we have Fred, right, who's a journalist, like uncovering the truth, writing, articles that are hard hitting and stuff like that, right? So we see him in a Nazi party, I guess, and he's just trying to get information about him. And they ask him to get a swastika. So halfway through, they find out who he is, and then he jumps out the window. I don't know how he doesn't die, break ribs, break his face. Literally jumps off a window. I think it looks like 4 stories, lands face first, and he just walks up with a limp. And later we see him, he's all right. Yeah, that doesn't at this point. You might as well put fiction in the title there. But that's how the movie starts, right? Then we find out that Fred is, if he quits his job, was getting bought by a billionaire. We've seen that, right? It happens, billionaires have money. They're gonna buy whatever they want. So he quits his job. And then we have Charlotte, right? Who's, going around she wants to run for president, right? And then she's trying to get this deal done, the green deal, to save the planet and everything. So later they meet at a party. Then Fred does some, he goes to like a billionaire who's ruining the world. He screams at him and stuff like that. Falls down a flight of stairs, and again he just walks away without any damage and everything. It's weird. Anyway, so basically Charlotte researches about him because they used to know each other as kids, right? So Charlotte used to babysit him, and then Fred liked him. Fred liked her, and then when they were in the kitchen and stuff, when they were kids, he got like a boner. And then Charles was like, wow, okay. So that was pretty good, seeing a flashback about that. No, I don't like when movies they tell you what happened. I like them to show us, so you have that kind of visual aspect, right? Telling us is fine, but I want to see it. I paid money, I want to see what happens. So that was pretty funny. Then so Charlotte recruits Fred to be her writer. So he's writing stuff about her, and his first speech he wrote was good. It was good. So he keeps traveling with her around the world. They get to know each other. Then apparently Charlotte is rumored to be dating the French prime minister, right? So Fred's jealous a little bit about that. He asks about that. So they start their relationship, but we don't know what it is, right? So they start seeing each other behind secretly, right? And then one of Charlotte's aides finds out, and there's like a presentation, right, showing the comparison, like Charlotte dating Fred is like Guy Fieri dating Princess Diana. I was like, okay, yeah, all right, here we go. But that was interesting. Then they go on like crazy adventures. Some adventures is like when they're in. So Charlotte is like super stressed that things are not going her way. So they go to a party. They do like drugs, and then Charlotte is asked to save like a whole situation, right? And she's like on drugs and stuff. She talks to this guy. And then she goes underneath the table, smoking a cigarette, trying to convince that my president sucks. And what else sucks? Keeping someone hostage. So why don't you let him go? And we'll send you a nice aid package. I was like, that's really good. I think the actor portrayed Charlotte pretty well. I love different emotions. I was rooting for her and stuff, and it was good to see Charlotte not being stuck up and snobby all the time. So that was pretty good. And Fred, I like him because he's very he's himself. He's unapologetically himself. Says what he needs to be said. He knows what he wants, what he doesn't want. So that was pretty good. So Charlotte is trying to run for president. Things are not going her way, but that's why she did drugs and everything. So it turns out that if she cancels the deal, the green deal, she can get endorsed to run for president with a billionaire as well. But the billionaire is talking to the president, and they both have connections. They're connected, so they need Charlotte to cancel the deal, right? So Fred doesn't like that. And then also if the billionaire hacks Fred's webcam, so they use that as blackmail. Like, listen, so Freddy's like jacking off to her, and then he comes on his beard, right? So they're like, listen, if you don't do what we say, we're gonna send this video online. And so Charlotte does a speech, um, to address things, right? And she says like, I'm dating this guy Fred, I love him, and he comes on his face, he masturbates and stuff. And the speech is, I like the speech. That was it's pretty good. Then Charlotte goes to him and says, I love you and stuff like that, and they end up together. Then Charlotte is the president, and then Fred is also like the first guy, first man. That was interesting. I don't know much about America, about being the first guy. I guess I know what that entitles, was I guess there were first ladies, right? I guess you'd be the first man. I want to see it. I want to see like a female American president. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it happens. And they have tried, Hillary and Kamala Harris, but we'll see what happens there, right? I won't get into like U.S. politics. That's people already do that already. It's tiresome, really. But in terms of the movie, that was pretty good. The characters are great. Fred and Charlotte are like opposites, as you not really opposites, but they've certain things in common. But in terms of characters, Fred is like honest. He does what needs to be done, and Charlotte, at the beginning was trying to like do what the president says, so she can get endorsed to run for president and stuff. So she does change. She promises she knows what she wants. Was a Fred. So I think Fred had a positive impact on her, even though Fred did some crazy stuff. And I like at the end, like the guy, so he got like a half of a swastika, right? So he drew like a man, and then he did like flowers on top and says like the best man. So I feel like the ending, the beginning was terrible, but the ending was great. And I love this movie. It's so good. I've watched it like so many times, right? For me, the best part is when I didn't anticipate them to be together. I was like, there's no way, like they're too different. But when the story progresses, you realize like it's possible, right? It's very possible. I wish I wish there was a second one. But I feel like the movie, I think you can't make a long shot too. I think the movie ends where it needs to end, right? Bush already became president. Fred got his change that he wanted. So I think everything went pretty well. And I'll give it like a 9 out of 10. That's how good the movie is. I don't care what IMDb says. They don't know what they're doing. They just don't know what they're doing. The movie's great, and I recommend you guys to watch it. And you guys watch it. If you have watched it, you guys tell me what you think, and I'll see you in the comments. Thank you.